Rejoice, his shame remains unknown. But he had almost sat a throne.
I don't know that poem.
Spartan Uprising?
It seems like a really long time since the first season of Foundation ended. By now it's even been months since the first sneak peek for season 2 came out, so when I watched the full teaser that dropped the other day, I had a lot of questions. One thing I remember distinctly from the ending of the first season was series creator David S. Goyer saying that in his mind, it ended with the shot of Demerzel tearing the skin off her face. So the epilogue of Gale arriving on Senex to find Salvor 138 years later was the beginning of the second season. That all seems to track with the official announcement that Apple put out with this new teaser, which says, more than a century after the Season 1 finale, tensions mount throughout the galaxy in Foundation Season 2. As the Cleons unravel, a vengeful queen plots to destroy Empire from within. Harry, Gale, and Salvor discover a colony of Mentalics with psionic abilities that threaten to alter psychohistory itself. The Foundation has entered its religious phase, promulgating the Church of Selden throughout the Outer Reach and inciting the Second Crisis, War with Empire. The monumental adaptation of Foundation chronicles the stories of 4 crucial individuals transcending space and time as they overcome deadly crises, shifting loyalties, and complicated relationships that will ultimately define the fate of humanity. Time jump to get everyone else caught up to where Gale and Salvor are? Check. Introduce some of the new characters? Check. Explain how things have developed on Terminus? Check. What's fascinating about this teaser then is that it doesn't really reflect many of those points. And I'm not saying that as a dig from someone who enjoyed Asimov's books or someone who followed the first season closely as I covered it. I'm saying that as someone who is legitimately wowed by how ambitious this series is. It's wild to me just how unsure I am about what's happening in this teaser, and it's kind of exciting in that way. 2 things that stand out here are that the show still looks great, and the powers that be got the memo about fans wanting more Lee Pace and the Empire story. The teaser opens with a familiar shot of Terminus and all those markers people placed when the Null Field was up in an attempt to see who could get closest to the vault. You see what I can only describe as an uncharacteristically disheveled Brother Day approaching the vault. He's just wearing his underlayer of chainmail. You see this in some of the other shots, which makes me think that this might be after this later shot where it looks like he's being attacked by or maybe fighting with one of those bishop's claws that are native to Terminus. Since I already have some good videos you can go back and watch if you're hazy about the details of last season, I won't be recapping everything that happened in this, but I will mention that the Foundation's plan was to use the Invictus to make it look like Terminus was destroyed so that they would be free to live there and to develop their colony without the Empire's influence. Also on Trantor, the Cleons discovered that their cloning material had been corrupted, raising questions about how the dynasty would continue. That gives this shot a lot of baggage in the form of questions that I can't wait to find out the answers to. In voiceover, we hear a brand new character say, "Rejoice, his shame remains unknown that he had almost sat a throne." A much more regal-looking Brother Day responds that he doesn't know that poem, and she responds it's about an uprising. Apple TV has promised a lot of new characters for Season 2 and provided several descriptions about who they are and what part they'll play, but I think this is the only one that jumps out in this teaser. It's actor Ella Ray Smith who plays Queen Sereth of Cloud Dominion. Her character description reads, "Used to being underestimated, Sereth employs it to her advantage, charming her way into the Imperial Palace with biting wit, all while on a secret quest for revenge." The character looks cool, and you can also see some clones growing in the background in this scene. This teaser also has some Harry Seldon in it. You see him with the Prime Radiant, and then on a ship with Gale and Salvor. Another thing to remember from Season 1 was that there was one version of Harry in the vault, and another separate version that Gale encountered on the Raven, which was destroyed. Keep in mind that she brought Rach's knife with her when she went to Synax, though, so she would still have access to his consciousness. It looks like they won't be stuck on Synax. There are several shots that look like completely new planets, and that promise from the description that the three of them will discover a colony of Mentalics with psionic abilities that threaten to alter psychohistory. Book readers can sort of see where that's going, but based on what we see in the first two teasers, it will play out quite differently in the show. It looks like it'll be a lot of fun to watch, though, with gravity-defying spacers, or possibly full-on robots, and a giant mech destroying an even more giant statue. The second bit of voiceover has Brother Day saying, "Over 100 years ago, Hari Seldon stood where you are now. He claimed he could establish a foundation to read the future and shorten the coming age of darkness." And Brother Dusk responds with the question, can they read the future? It's curious because we don't know which Cleons these are, or even how connected they might be to the ones from the first season. Obviously, it's the same actors playing the same roles, but you imagine that Demerzel might have had to do some things behind the scenes after they found out that the samples from Cleon the First were tampered with as well. In the time that's passed in between the seasons, they would have gone through the cycle a few times. Their conversation sounds like it could be related to finding out what's happening in the Outer Reach, which they may have learned about from Queen Sareth's visit. There's another shot of Trantor where you see some soldiers walking behind two characters that are wearing red. And then later I think you see these same two characters with Cleon standing in front of them with a crowd looking on, and he's holding something above his head, and it kind of gives you the feeling of what we saw in the first season when he was dealing with Thespis and Anacreon. I'm guessing these people are from the Outer Reach. They could be the connection to the Church of Seldon, because otherwise I don't see a lot of that in this trailer. You imagine the reason he goes to Terminus is because he finds out what's happening there, and then this will set up the show's second crisis. Beyond that, you hear Hari saying, "It's time the Empire had a reckoning, and all empires fall." And there's one shot of him where he's looking at the ocean. There's not much Demerzel here, but there is one shot of her walking and taking off her hood on a planet where we also see a new ship on the shore. And there's a shot of her standing behind Brother Day as he has an outburst and sweeps everything off of this table or desk. There's a shot of Salvor holding the Prime Radiant, and a couple with her mother Gale on their new ship. In one of those, you see that mech above them reflected in the glass and through their window. I'm not sure what's happening, but it looks great. As does the shots of the spacer/robot character. In the sneak peek, I think we might get one shot of one of the new book characters that are going to show up, but hopefully we'll get a full trailer soon to sort out how everything fits together. To wrap this up, some great looking things happening here. Doesn't look like they're skimping on the budget at all, so bring on Empire versus the Foundation and the Church of Seldon, and let's see how the traitors fit in with everything else that's going on. Can't wait to see it, and that seems like a great place to leave things. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.